All right, that looks good. All right, I can see the comments. I can see the comments. 6, no. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 2. Yeah, it looks good there. What's 7 here? Nothing. Nothing. Okay, wait, that ain't right. Why is... I was just on the right camera. Okay, well, this one's red right here. I think it's...
Dude, what are you doing, Andy?
Just doing the after show, that's all. Nothing.
What are you doing? Been waiting for
What you... Listen, just for like 5 minutes, okay? Just fun.
Andy!
What?
What are you doing, dude? You can't do this.
This is precision equipment. This isn't for you or I to mess with.
Man, you know, shoot. All right, just cut it.
Fine.
There's 21 people watching. Cue the music. Oh, look at that. Just kidding, folks. We are going to be live and direct in Stillwater for the Unmasked After Show. Let's roll them credits. The intro, you know it. Let's get it going. Let's get dancing. Okay, Mr. Cookie Monster, you ready to go live? Let's do this thing. What is going on, everyone? We are live at Stillwater. This is the UnMasked After Show. And you know what? We kind of took over the studio. What do you think, Ernie? Is that pretty cool?
For you, Andy, whatever you need, buddy. Hey, just take over while you're here. It's fine.
You know what? I might as well. It's my last night. I was like, let's just do it. This is great. Just to be able to be on this show and now to do my Unmasked After Show and just be able to hang out with you guys, read the comments, and just, talk about my stay at Stillwater, some of the things I learned, and maybe if you had some questions that you guys didn't get to ask me on the actual Unmasked show, that's what we're here to do. We got 32 people in here tonight. It's going to be awesome, man. What is up, William? Yo, yo, yo. Kicking it with Andy After Show live. Stillwater for the win. You're a true rock star, Andy. Thank you, William. Appreciate you, buddy. Miss you, man. I can't wait to get back to PA, but this is a blast down here. Got people from Kicker Club. Has Andy told you his kids yet they are moving? Yeah, no, we haven't told them yet. Not yet. We're going to break the news soon. Yeah. Let me see. We got Cornut. What's going on, Cornut? Hope you're doing good, buddy. We got High Five Vega. What is going on? Of course, we got the 14.4 volt guys. I know I'm saying that, and I'm down here, Stillwater. What is going on, Deviant? I don't know if 25 is here. Thank you, William, true rock star. Thank you, buddy. It means so much, just to be able to do this. And man, this is awesome. I don't know how these guys do it every week, but it's just, they got some pretty cool stuff here. Makes it a little bit easier. Not a one-man show. I tried doing it, as you could see. I was messing up a little bit. At least we have Ernie back there to help me and switch the cameras around just in case that I want to, look a different way. And I got to do something with my hands, so we got John's computer here, just so I can, get used to moving the mouse. It's not even there, but hey, it's, it's a computer in front of my face, so this is a different experience for sure. But I just appreciate you guys tuning in, man, and awesome. We got 25. Are you taking donations? What do you mean, am I taking donations? Always. Just kidding. What's up, 25? Thanks for tuning in. Of course, Deviant. Of course. Mullen, what is going on, Mullen? I seen your post earlier on Facebook, man. Thank you, buddy. This has been an awesome adventure. Coming down to Stillwater, flying down. Believe it or not, our second plane from Dallas to Stillwater actually had to be turned around. Part of the plane was falling apart. Just kidding. It kind of was. The cover to the engine cover just was ajar, so they had to turn the plane around because there's no maintenance down in Stillwater. So we had to drive halfway, or fly, I'm used to saying drive, fly halfway to Stillwater and turn around, land back in Dallas, and waited a few hours. And then we finally made our maiden voyage to Stillwater. So it was kind of like, man, we're on our way to Stillwater. Just kidding. We have to go back to Dallas. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Steve Irby is waiting to pick me up. Steve Irby picked me up. And that was awesome, man. I tried to get as much footage as I could, but you know what? I was enjoying the moment. And just with a lot of things here, but I did get some footage for you guys of what I can. There's a lot of things here, as you've seen with the blanket, top secret information. And you kind of got to watch where the camera's pointing here. So there's a lot of things coming down the road. You guys are going to be excited. It's going to be awesome, man. Got almost 40 people in here tonight. What is going on? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Vega, what is going on? We got a super chat. Look at that. Super chat function is working, ladies and gentlemen, and it's probably because I'm down Stillwater. We got Deviant for life. Thank you, Stu. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Stu. Deviant, awesome job tonight, Andy. From 14.4 volt talk pebbles and the OG Beardy. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing good, man. It's just cool to be able to do this stuff, and we have a little bit of practice from doing our shows. So, the Rolling Thunder really broke me in to be able to talk to people on camera. It's a little bit easier when you're on a small show, not when we're 100 to 200 people are watching. When there's just a few people and they're your friends, it makes it a little bit easier and you gain confidence. So it's just cool to be able to do what I'm doing here now. So that's awesome. Deviant, thank you so much for your super chat. And we got another one here from Cornut. First donation. Let me scroll right up. Yeah, at least the super chat function's working, and it's working on John's computer. I'm sure it's working back on Ernie's computer. So it's definitely my computer. Thank you, Cornut. First donation. Cornut. And the kicker box, man, that thing is awesome. Even Steve said that thing was beautiful. So you did a good job. Thank you, Cornut. Appreciate you. And thanks for tuning in. SJC, super chats are working, but it's not my computer. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Hi, Ernie and Andy. Yes, Ernie and Andy. And we got John Ickes. What is going on, John? Thanks for tuning in. The guy that got me into kicker, man. I will not say that enough. And good old Nate Brink that gave me the Solo X, what we traded for. I won't forget those guys, man. That's how we got here. Cool. And I want to bring John up here. John's just sitting back there listening to me going. But you know what? I got to get to these comments, and we're going to bring John out if you guys got any questions for John. Todd, what's going on, Todd? Get the specs on the L7X so we can start to build. You know, honestly, there's a lot that is going on with the L7X that I can't really talk about, but obviously it's not finished yet with every single series. But I can give you an idea, man. You know, I know what you're trying to do, and I know how these woofers kind of react and the type of drivers they are, and with the information that I know, you can get in that ballpark. It's not public information yet for the tile small parameters, but honestly, man, if you run like 2 of those, you can go with like maybe like 6 cubes, maybe 7. You could go more. You could honestly go more, but with everything, you know, there's pros and cons. And the power, you know, and the amount of space that you have available in your trunk, it's a lot of factors, man. So, I mean, specs will get you close on what a subwoofer requires, but honestly, it comes down to what actually works. And there's always going to be that range, and as long as you're in that range, it's going to sound okay. So we'll get you there, Todd. Thank you for your comment, man, and tuning in. Appreciate you guys just being here. Man, we got 40 people up in here. What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. Mini Truck 007, welcome to Stillwater. It is great to have you. Thank you for tuning in, man. You know, and it's awesome to be down in Stillwater. It's that small town where everybody knows everybody, but at the same time, it's a nice neighborhood and it's a different vibe. It really is, you know. To be able to see all the stores, and it's more homey, if that makes sense, if that's a word for what I'm trying to describe. It's more comforting, you know. It's not that big city stuff. It's not the suburbs of Pittsburgh where I live. So there's all kind of different, you know, pros and cons with everything. But I like it. I do like it. You know, it's a different setting. And I mean, shoot, Kicker's here. Sonic started here. You know, I mean, man, there's more than one reason to come down here, man. You know, and it's just it's a really cool place to be. And thanks for letting me be here. We got a super chat. I love this super chat function working. We got 2 super chats. Let me get Bubba's up. Bubba, great job tonight, Andy. You're a natural host. Come on, peeps, show our man some love. Hit the like. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much for tuning in, Bubba. And it's just awesome to be here, man. It really is. And you know as well as I do, you know. Good things come to good people, man. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your super chat and just hanging out. Vega says, I heard if you say L7X 3 times in one show, Ernie's heart gets 1 step closer to giving out. I mean, you know, yeah, I could see that happening. What do you think, Ernie? You still back there, or did you go home?
I'm still here.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm going to say maybe. Thanks for tuning in, Vega. El Fuego with a $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Fantastic job tonight. Tell us what you saw with the Bronco, how many subs and what size. Am I allowed to disclose a little bit of information on that? Because I think you guys talked a little bit about what's going in there.
Yeah.
Just not amps. Just not amps. Because
Okay.
subs, yes. Amps, no, because we don't know. So the subs, there's going to be, what, 912s? 912 L7X is in that enclosure. And it's going to be a 4th order band pass. Drew Jones was here actually this weekend. He was down here Sunday, so I got to hang out with him and go check out the Bronco with him that he's designing. It looks like it's a 1-to-2 ratio, 2-to-1, whichever way you want to look at it. The sealed side's smaller than the ported side. And I'm not sure exactly what they're going with the port tuning for the obviously the ported side of the 4th order band pass, but it's going to be a musical build in my opinion. I don't want to give away too many specs of it and everything, but it's going to be nice. And I mean, 912s and L7Xs, you're going to need some power to power those. And I know people keep asking about amplifiers and what kind of amps that they're going to be coming out with the L7X. Honestly, they're going to have something that comes out with at least power one of those guys, if not 2. So you know the power is going to be readily available. And yeah, so I think I answered that question. What sub? How many subs and what size? Yep, 912s will be in the Bronco. All right, cool. Well, we got a lot of super chats. Thank you, guys. Jeff Wallace, shout out. John, Ernie, Andy, Baba, Deviant25, Saber, Hi-Fi. Thank you for tuning in, Jeff Wallace. These guys appreciate you always tuning in. And it's just awesome, you guys just hanging out. And thank you for being a Patreon, Jeff. Man, you guys are awesome tonight. Todd Wolf, bring me back a souvenir. I'll see what I can do. I don't know if the gift shop, if the gift shop, merch shop is open past 10 o'clock here or opens before 6, because that's when I'll be leaving in the morning. I'll see what I can do, Todd. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for your super chat, buddy. You guys are awesome. Steve Barber, how cool is this? Dee is just down the road. You know, I will be down in Stillwater again. This was just my first time coming down, and just to be able to, you know, hang out with the guys, you know, really get to talk to Steve and, you know, the employees that make this place run, you know, and it's just awesome to be able to do that. And I finally did it. Everyone kept saying, oh, this is your first time here? Are you sure? It's like, you know, I feel like I've been here, but I haven't. So it's just, it's an awesome experience. I'm trying to stay cool, man. I am giddy right now. This is awesome. And we got a super chat from Scott Dilbeck. Thank you for tuning in, Scott. Again, give you props, man. Thank you so much. Take pictures of the museum for me, please. You killed it tonight, buddy. Thank you, man. I know I wanted to stay on longer, but we had to do this little gig here, so I had to leave and go back to my motel early. So you know how that goes. But absolutely, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning in and just being a friend and everything else. I'll try to get more pictures. I got a little bit of video, but I had Steve Irby telling me about each product. You know, I kind of wanted to film, but at the same time, you know, out of respect, it's like, man, I just want to hear what this man has to say. So, you know, it was just, it was awesome. I recorded it with my eyes, and I'll get some more pictures for you guys, hopefully before I leave. I don't know how long these guys stay up. I'm up all night long. And speaking of which, I heard something rustle over here. John, come on.
Sure, you do your job right.
I'm trying, man.
It's your job now, not mine.
This is a totally new thing, you know. Usually I'm always going by myself, and if not, there's somebody miles away. Usually,
More fun with two people.
Yeah, absolutely. We can actually have a conversation and talk about stuff. So, thanks for tuning in. Oh my goodness, hanging out with me. I'm so used to saying tuning in.
I kind of tuned in and tuned out all at the same time.
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions for John or anything about kicker, like he knows more about kicker than I do, obviously. He should.
If I don't know the answer, I'll make it up, and you'll never know the difference.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. Let me see if there was any comments here that I missed here. Steve, absolutely, Scott. Absolutely. Shop line returns, almost like his voice is... What's Brian saying here? Andy comes on and my shop lion returns. It's almost like the voice of has a magical calling. Shop lion. I guess you have a garage cat, I'm guessing? That would be my educational
probably.
guess on that. That's awesome, man.
I don't know if I want to go to his shop now, but...
Yeah, a lion or a cat.
A chair and a whip.
Yeah, some crazy stuff going on there. Brian, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you just being here, man. You know, speaking of John just sitting here, man, the demo that you gave me right before we got here, heading up here. Now, you have some crazy Q-class components between, what, the QS, the Q, L7, the Q...
Pretty much everything that's outdated right now.
Q. Yeah, all in a Mustang, and man, did that thing sound accurate.
I appreciate that. I like the way it sounds, and it's nice to know that other people like it too, but you never know. Right. I mean, it's fun, and like I said, it's kind of a passion, kind of hobby, and it's kind of midlife crisis.
Hey, I'm not there to judge, but you know what? It sounds good. That's all that matters. I think, yeah, Ernie, thanks for throwing that up. Wade, what gives an amplifier its ability to combat impedance rise?
That's an interesting question, and actually, it's not really an ability of the amplifier.
No.
Because as the impedance goes higher, the amplifier actually works easier. It doesn't produce as much power, so... I mean, you can run as much impedance as you want, and the amplifier is just going to run cooler and cooler and less power and less power.
Right.
So
right.
It's the impedance dips that are the problem. Yeah. And that's where you get into protection circuits like, current limiting. Because you can play into a dead short for X amount of time until you get to a certain amount of current, and then it's going to shut down.
Right.
And some amplifiers are just basically impedance limited. I mean, if it's under 2 ohms, they just shut off.
Right. Yeah.
But
I feel like the kicker ones are amperage limited.
Yeah, they are.
Amperage limited.
And in fact, in the past, amplifiers would actually shut down. You'd shut down for 2 seconds, then come back on
Right.
to check the signal. But anymore, the newer amplifiers are actually just pulling back the rail voltage a little bit, so they just don't produce as much power, but they never shut off, and that's kind of the name of the game.
That makes sense.
So it's new technology and
dummy proof.
Yeah, I don't know about
Dummy
that, but we try.
Absolutely. I love the products, and I love your build, man, by the way. I love it.
Appreciate it.
El Fuego, John's build is amazing. How long did the build take, and is he planning something new with the Solo X family? Ooh, good question.
Build, actually, I don't know if I can put a time on it, because, when you're traveling so much, you do a little bit here, a little bit there, and it was not all at once. I mean, actually the system started out with our VSS, which was basically our vehicle-specific solutions, which is the plug-and-play system, and absolutely love that. Had that card for a year and a half.
Sometimes all you need is a little bit extra oomph to get you by.
And it sounded great, but then, of course, you got to go big or go home.
Right.
So they just started, I think I can't even remember, it's been so long since I built it, so obviously I need to do another one because I'm getting out of practice. But I really think the first thing was putting better subs into the 210s, glassed into the floor, and then started working on the front stage from there.
That front stage, so you got, what is it, the 8-inch Comp RT or Comp Rs?
Comp RT.
RT. So RT, I get confused with RT and L7T because I don't want to say it's the square one. So it's the RT.
Which is the round one.
The round one. There we go.
You can say that because it is true. They are round and square.
And it's more than like it's like mid bass, like low mid bass, like below around 50 hertz.
The 8s are running from 60 to 125.
Ooh.
So if you play them by themselves, they sound awful.
Yeah.
But they fill in the gap that you really miss in a lot of car audio systems.
Right, and I know you can get that fill from like your subs in your trunk, but then it's hard
it pulls
to
that stage backwards. Because the higher the frequency, the more you can detect where it's coming from. So to bring that up front.
Is that why that does that? Because it's like certain songs you can get away with more amplitude coming from that rear fill, and then other ones it's like, man, I got to knock it down because I'm hearing where the subs are coming from.
Yep. And
that's insane.
And it's the crossover point of the sub, and also has to do with the phase relationship of the sub, because if the sub's not in phase, you're going to hear where it's coming from. So you basically, when you're tuning a system for sound quality, you start with the speakers that are farthest away.
Okay.
And you tune everything else to those.
Makes sense.
Because they're the ones you can't make the sound come any quicker, but you can slow everything else down so it all arrives at the same time. So,
and you mess with that with phase.
Yes, well, time delay.
Time delay. Because I've seen on some amps they'll have like a phase of 0 to 180, not just a switch. They'll
and what the phase 0 180 does, it's like taking your positive negative and reversing them.
Okay.
Which, I wish Ernie let me have my whiteboard to draw this out. But when you start talking about shut up, Ernie. When you start talking about phase versus timeline, phase. If you have two speakers that are 180 degrees out of phase, that's your listening position.
Right.
So they can be wired electrically in phase, but acoustically out of phase. So if I've got a speaker here, and a speaker to you, as these speakers are moving at a certain frequency, they're going to be completely 180 out of phase.
Right.
But as the frequency changes, they're going to be back in phase due to the wavelength. And
yes. And
so you cannot correct time alignment with phase at all frequencies. You can do it for one specific frequency.
Wow.
But everything else above or below that comes gradually more and more out of.
And that's why you can't have like the perfect system.
Yeah, and
pretty much.
We start talking comb filtering, reflections in the V, and it just gets. But it's so much fun to learn and just experiment. Right. We're going to do a little experiment. You guys met Jacob. I mean, if you saw the UnMasked show we did
Jacob
2 weeks ago with Jacob, we're going to basically take my entire system, and I'm not going to save any settings. I'm going to just do this hardcore, and I'm going to go erase every single memory on every one of those amplifiers, and and I are just going to go through, and it's going to be a couple-day process to teach him how to tune and just to retune the entire card, because you love the way it sounds. I guess I've heard it so much. To me, it's like it's missing. You always want more. It doesn't matter what you have, you want more. So
right.
I want to change it.
Did you try turning up the gain in the back?
Yeah, that's that little knob under the dash.
Yeah. Hey, it works for me sometimes, It's just like a little...
Turn it up.
Yeah.
Just there's something that I don't know what it is that maybe I've gotten comfortable with it. I'm just looking for an extra little... So I just want to start over and see
Your
where I end
ears
up.
get that music memory,
Yeah.
It's just you're used to that same system. And like we were talking, I think it was you or someone else we were talking about, you go a few days without listening to your stereo. It's just your ears get used to hearing your stereo, the loudness, like how they automatically adjust for real loud noises. That's why your ears ring, and just, you get used to what your system can do all the time. And it's just, right, that's why you always want more. But I feel like, maybe you could get a little bit more out of it when you do retune it, because you might find something.
Yeah, I already got a few ideas of things I want to change. But
yeah. Now, is it physically or just by tuning?
Just tuning. Well, actually, physically too, because we've got a product that's available now that I didn't have back when I first built the car. And that's the key lock.
Oh, you don't even have a key lock in
No.
there. So you have a stock head unit.
Yep, complete
and how's
stock.
the DSP? By the IQ amps?
Yep, it's all done in it's a base speaker level into each one of the IQs.
Okay.
And then all the tuning's done with the Tweak app.
Wow.
So I'm curious to throw a key lock in there, because the system's 12 channels of amplification, but it's actually 2 channels of audio. It's left and right.
Right.
So the key lock's perfect. It's 2 channels in and 2 channels out. So I'm kind of curious to see what a difference that'll make.
Get a better flat response since it's doing it automatically rather than...
Yeah. And you start out, with a true flat response and just see where we end up. But what I find I do with the car, and I've actually played it to you, fairly loud, which is the way I listen to it.
Beans. Yeah, you were.
I listen to it loud, but it sounds different at different volumes, and a lot of that is due to your ears, the way your ears hear things. I mean, because your ears have different sensitivities, different frequencies at different volumes. So if you listen to it loud all the time, you need to tune it loud.
Right,
so
right.
what I have done in the past with the cars, I've tuned it, with an RTA and sitting in the car, listen. But then I'll just literally go out and drive it and turn it up, and I'll, make mental notes. Okay, I need to adjust this band or this, frequency or this speaker, because at this volume it's not doing what I want it to do, but at quite a volume it did. So and I use all different types of music. I mean, literally,
you have to get to see where those crossovers and how you're going to tune it need to be set, because if you play just one song, it's going to sound great, even if you tune it for a low volume and then high volume, it sounds great. You try to put something that's got more dynamic range, more, it's just something, whatever maybe the speaker is limited at.
Well, one of the things that I've taught people in the past, especially when it comes to music, is there's about as many recording engineers as there are songs out there. I mean, they're all recorded differently.
That's crazy.
So in the past, year before I really got into it, I absolutely refused to use an equalizer. Because with an equalizer, you adjust it for one song, you go to a different track, different artist or whatever. It can be totally wrong. You got to go back and adjust it.
You're sitting there messing with it, going crazy.
But an equalizer is important to adjust the overall balance of the system, especially doing it left to right. But then you actually listen to it, and you might need to make subtle. It sounds great in one song, but not so great on this song. So you want to go for a little bit of balance, those, and you factor another song in. So it's all just a good average, and there's not there's no magic bullet that's going to do it. It's just all about listening to it. And hey, if you don't like it, adjust it. That's what it's for.
Yeah, and I feel
it's your system. Tune it the way you want.
Right.
It's your money. Get it when you want it.
It would drive me nuts
Different commercial.
It'd drive me nuts competing as SQ, because it's like you got to get it ready for those couple songs you got choose to play for him. And then, you can't play the system when you're on the way. It's just like SPL. You're not supposed to play your system on the way when you're competing, because killing your electrical on the way. But I feel like you can find that happy medium of getting sound quality with the extra gravy. The way because I know your system, it sounds really good. It's got that gravy. It's got that punch. It's got the dynamic, the depth, just like Ernie's, But yours had a lot more sauce than Ernie's. His sounded more of like a SQ type, where you're going to go and compete with this because
I'm old. I like it loud.
Exactly, same, and that's how I like it. Just not flat and not that his was flat, but I like it louder. I like that little bit of distortion just here and there for some reason.
You'll remember me saying, between my two vehicles that I ride, the Mustang and the Journey, there's things about both of them I like better than the other one.
Right, right.
And it's having the choice, having the ability. It's like, you don't drink the same, soda every time, whatever brand it happens to be. Right. Sometimes you switch, you want different. It doesn't mean you don't like the other one. And I'm the same way with music. The same thing with all speakers. I don't think I could ever own enough home speakers because there's something I like about this one, and you can't put that all in one. So
no, not at all.
Much to the wife's dismay, I've got several pairs of home speakers that what do you got all these speakers for? Speakers and speakers.
I know,
No,
they're just sitting
not.
there collecting dust. But listen, I might use them. They're nice. I like them for this. I like them for that. Right.
And I can't get rid of them.
No,
that just wouldn't be right.
Bobby had a question. I know they had this up earlier. John, talk about the high band on your tweeters and the Mustang. I know you were just telling me something about 12K. Yeah,
the tweeters actually run at 12K and up, and it's really weird. I call it psychoacoustics. Now, there's actually some facts behind it, but General Motors did a study years ago where they were actually looking to put piezo tweeters up in the headliner because your brain will actually process where an image is coming from by higher frequencies.
Wow.
But when you hear a frequency, you actually you tune into it, it gets localized, and you don't necessarily want, speakers localized. You want the sound up high.
Right.
So by running them, at a really high frequency, like I say, 12K at 24 dB per octave, that's almost beyond my hearing range.
Yeah, I can hear about 14K after that.
Yeah, and same with me. I cannot hear anything above 14, so there's just a little bit there, but not enough that you really localize, but your brain hears it. And whether you realize it or not, your brain is actually basically telling your mind, hey, it sound's coming from up here, even though it's not. And the other thing, if you see a speaker, it should be making noise, right? So there should be a lot coming from that, even though there isn't. So it's like throwing your voice.
That's crazy. I know some of you guys cover the speakers just so you don't think it's this coming from there. Just in your mind.
It's like I say, it's kind of something I call psychoacoustics. There's no,
it's a good name.
Definition for it, but it works. And we've done it in a couple other cars in the past. We did it in our little Kicker Cougar we had. We had a little 99 Cougar.
Ooh.
That was a
Mercury?
cool car. Yeah.
Yeah. Hatchback.
We did that car. It was neat because the kick panels we talked about in the show earlier. We talked about aperiodic membranes. We did the 6.5s in the kick panels. Oh, wow. That way, they actually fired through the kick panel we built, and they actually threw an aperiodic membrane into the fender well. So it used the outside as the speaker enclosure through the aperiodic membrane. The 4-inch was sealed in the kick panel, so it was actually a sealed panel with a tunnel through it for the 6.5.
Wow.
Then the tweeter, actually we took the bottom of the dash off on both sides, the glove compartment and the hush panel, and we actually put an arc in the bottom of it so it didn't distract from the image. The tweeter had a clear path.
That's some crazy stuff.
And then we put another set of tweeters up on the pillars, once again, a very, very high frequency. And that was a good sounding little car. And that car actually was kind of funny, because that was the first car it's the second car that had L7s in it, but it was the first car that basically I got turned loose. And I'm symmetrical. Everything to me, it's got to be balanced, and that's why I'm building a car right now. I added a second 1800.1. I didn't need it because I'm doing two L7S12s. One will drive them fine, but it's got to be balanced, so I had to add a second one. But that car, I went really weird. And we've always put round speakers in square boxes. So that car, I put square speakers in round boxes. I took one of those balls at the gym. Yeah. We cast that in fiberglass and made the enclosures out of that, put a square ring on it, so it was completely backwards. But the thing that really tripped me out was I was told that they wanted the woofers on one side and the amps on the other. So it was really difficult for me to put 4 amplifiers on one side and 2 subs on the other.
Yeah, how are you going to do all that? Not enough space.
It was a really cool car. It was a lot of fun. And like I said, they're
bigger cars, a little bit bigger.
About the second vehicle that ever had L7s, had square woofers on them. The first one was the 61 Impala.
61 Impala, first square L7. Well, what year is that, like 2099-ish? Around
99 was when we basically, it was debuted, I think 2000 was when they were released to the public. But
that's crazy. Wow. 20.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward because that was one of our reps' cars. So he was working on the car, and basically we said, all right, I'm coming out, we're going to build this vehicle, because he was building it for a CES show vehicle.
Yeah.
And I came out and said, all right, all this work you did in the trunk, I mean, all the fiberglass you did for these 215, you know, we're tearing it all out.
Wow.
Because we're
Oh,
super
nuts.
chat.
Yeah, we got to.
It's off of my peripheral.
It's a living loud.
It's your show, so run this
no,
thing.
you're good, John. I'm soaking up the information, man.
But we'll show pictures that
We
car,
got.
I think,
Yeah, we got to pull that up for sure. I am the real crawfish. Thank you for your super chat, Andy. You should do an unmasked on how to set up mids and highs on record, off stream. I have been in the game for a while, and I still have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to mids and highs. You know, I hear that a lot. You know, because it's like it's something that just it takes time, and you kind of gotta not overdrive your mids and highs. You gotta let everything else do what they're supposed to do. Right.
Well, with everything, I mean, don't push your amplifiers to the limit. And like you talked about, you know, having plenty of extra power. I'm running 300 watts of channel to the doors.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean,
4 ohms.
I've done that. I've done that in Cookie Monster, and I think it was a little overkill for just 4 speakers. But man, did it scream. And I downgraded, if you want to call it downgraded, to the KXA 2400, but I'm clamping less power. Or not the 2400, the 400.4.
Okay, I was going to say
matching
that
4-channel.
Downgraded to a 2400
yeah,
watt.
Well, if it played mids and highs, I'd probably use it. No, but I thought I'm going to lose sound because I'm going down power. And I've amped dyno the CX and the KX, but the KX, man, when it comes down to how mids and highs sound, the amplifier design and how it's made makes a darn difference.
Yes, it does.
You can hear it. You can hear it. Because I had the Alpine in there and the Infinity. The Infinity was probably louder, but it's not like it was better. And then I got the Alpine MRP F450, and then I was like, okay, this is nice, but it's not as loud as the Infinity. And I went from that to the KXA 400.4, and I'm like, I'm going down power. It sounds louder, it sounds better. Why is that?
And it's weird. It has to do with headroom and the capabilities of the power supply of the amplifier and just overall clarity. That's actually how I got into the car audio game.
Really?
I mean, when I had my first car, in the show we talk about Jensen, you know, 6x9s in the rear deck. You know, that's what my buddy had, and I had Sparkomatic 6x9s, and you know.
Yeah.
But I had a little 20 watt per channel amplifier booster, and my best friend had a 250 watt, and mine completely outperformed his.
Wow.
And it was a sixth of the power, and it's about, you know, basically the headroom, you know, the clarity, you know, the way it's designed. So, you know, you pay for what you get.
Absolutely. And I'm learning that more and more, and it's like, you know, that's why I want to try even more kicker products, all of them, just because.
We might have a few around here we could.
Yeah, well, we gotta see if it fits on a carry-on. That's the only thing. Yeah.
No, we just bring your car back here. We play all day.
You know what? That sounds like an idea.
That's a promise. Bring it back. We'll do all kinds of cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that. It'll be cool, man. You
And
know,
I'll
'cause you
call
can
it
never
work.
try different things. Yeah, work.
Yeah, exactly.
Got
Nudge,
a
nudge, wink, wink.
Question from That Cool, always the winks. That Cool 9, best way to eliminate powering on-off pop using key lock to generate a remote using the DC offset. Ooh, one or the other. Yeah, because I know that it'll make the DC offset if the DC offset is present.
Yeah,
and then
there shouldn't be any turn-on, turn-off pop anyway.
No.
When you get turn-on, turn-off pop, what's happening is the amplifier is shutting off too soon.
Before the signal.
Before the voltage rails stabilize. Because if you got more of the positive or negative side when it shuts off, it's going to have a, you know, either a pull or a push when it.
Right, the DC.
That's why, you know, it's mostly in the circuitry of the amplifier that controls the turn on, turn off pop. But one of the things you might look into doing if you're having issues with that, I mean, if you're having issues with any NER gear, call the guys and, you know, at the service. I mean, they'll walk you through it. But you know, I haven't heard this problem in a long time.
Especially with the key lock, yeah, that's different.
Yeah, you shouldn't have any with the key lock unless he's just asking if he does it.
Because if he has DC offset, he's using the key lock to turn on his amps.
Yeah, and there should be a delay.
There should be a
but
delay.
But there's
right.
a pack piece called a TR7, which is a delay turn-on piece. And what that'll do is that it adds a programmed delay in there that makes the amplifier either turn on or turn off, you know, a little bit after everything. So it allows the amplifier to settle down.
So it doesn't pop.
But the worst thing you can do on an amplifier, and I've seen people do this before, they switch the power lead on the amplifier. And it's just, it's hard on the amp. I mean, the power supplies are not meant to be just, you know, starved of power like that.
Right.
They've got to go through basically a shutdown.
Yep. And you want that soft shutdown too. You know?
Yep.
Can't you fix it with like a relay too? have your
possibly. I mean, we could spend all night just going over different ways
'cause
to do that.
My Cookie Monster, when I shut it off and I have the head unit on, or I turn the head unit off, I'll get a little pop. Nothing crazy, but
that's usually coming from the source unit.
So it's a crappy head unit.
Yeah. Or, like I said, the amplifier, just like I said, if the head unit shuts off too soon, the amplifier's still on, same thing. So what you may look at is putting a delay turn off on the head unit.
Okay. I wonder if it has a setting for that. I don't know. Or just
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Power to the head unit with a relay.
So relay's right. Awesome. I was on this. That's what. Yep.
All different reasons. Sometimes using a relay on the turn on. There's, like I said, there's so many cool things, and that's the neat thing about car audio. There's always challenge. If it was just easy, everybody'd be perfect.
We'd be bored of it. Oh, look at that guy. Another
and our tech guys would be out of a job. But
another hair trick.
Andy, why doesn't Kicker make some pro audio mids and highs for use in big bass demo
Aaron,
builds?
you need to watch the UnMasked show, man. He's missing out.
He should have watched Dean and Fernando's show a couple weeks ago.
Now, have they actually released that information? I know it was on Dean's show.
I wish Steve was here so he could give the yay or nay. But
yeah.
The reps have already seen it, so I'm going to make. All right, I'm senior in the building, right, at the moment. I'm making the call. Yes, they're coming out. It's called the ST, the Street Series. So we showed them last week to the reps. We have a 7 and 9 inch square mid, and we have a 3/4 and 1 inch bullet tweeters.
That's
awesome. So they are unbelievably loud, and man, they sound good. So that's what we were demoing with the 2 quad boxes out in the parking lot, and I was worried that the neighbors were going to call the cops because they are loud, but they're exactly what you guys been looking for.
Loud
for
speakers.
The big, volume systems. And here again, square mids, better mutual coupling, like we talked about with woofers. They're going to be louder.
It's like you guys were listening to me, because I wanted square
We listen
doors.
to you and only you, Andy. Nobody else. So
it just seems like it. It's a
Anything
heck of
else
a
you want?
coincidence. You know what? An 18, and then maybe another sub too. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe 2 of them.
possibly. We're not going there. We're already pushing the boundaries. But yeah, there'll be something coming out.
Yeah.
Probably by the end of the year, they should be available. Hopefully.
Right. Me too. I'm hoping.
Depends on the shipping.
Right. And I feel like even if it's like a few weeks later or a month after 2022.
Yeah.
Because car audio season starts it goes all year other places, but at least in the main areas, it's April, springtime. April, May,
Yeah, it's usually, February, March, people start gearing up. That's when we start, actually, really hit the streets training, on the new products. But
hopefully we get it by then. Something that would be perfect if it can.
I feel we could talk about those because we showed them to the reps, so they're going to blab anyway, even though we tell them not to. So
Yeah.
So what do we got? 38, 37 of you guys out there. So don't tell the world. You guys are like in on the.
You guys are under the NDA.
Yeah. We will find you.
Yeah. SJC, what's up, buddy? Sorry if you guys talked about this, but what about how to properly use a snowman or pillar post speakers? Man, you guys are just happy John's here because he is the guy to ask on this stuff.
I'm just going to let you do that one.
Me do this one. All right, throw back the comment up again, Ernie. Ernie! Okay, so the pod speakers of how to set them up, just installation-wise, or?
Yeah, they're really, to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the question, because they come with passive crossovers between the mid and tweeter.
Right.
There's no advantage to actively cross them over. I've heard people talk about using the key 204
It'd be
to run the
perfect
tweeter in the
buy-in
mid. But there's no reason to, because the tweeter and mid are so close, you don't need the time align between those. So you're almost wasting time alignment channels if you have a limited number. But the advantage of those is it brings that soundstage up high on the dash, and we've talked about that before. By having the mid-range speakers, a bigger mid-range speaker up high brings that soundstage up higher.
That's crazy about the higher frequencies.
That's the thing that the Journey does better than the Mustang, is the Mustang speakers are about a foot lower because they're in the top of the doors, but the Journey has the dash speakers. So the soundstage in the Journey literally is about with the headliner. It's almost too high for me.
Wow.
So that's one thing that the Journey actually does better than Mustang. You're talking, $1,000 retailing gear that's in that car. For everything.
Right.
But it's cool. Every car is different. That's like I said with home speakers. I could never own enough cars because every car sounds differently and does other things.
I can say that about a lot of things.
I love my parents, but I should have been born rich.
Car audio, power wheels. We need them all.
All of it.
We need them all. I seen Baba's super chat there. Thank you, Baba. And we got another one from Deviant too. Let me see what Baba said. The following is being posted under direction from Deviant and 25 to life. You can unblock me for the audio community. I thought, yeah, what is going on? I thought you guys squashed the beef already. We love you guys. Deviant for life. Awesome job tonight, Andy, from 14.4 volt talk and the OG Beardy. Thank you, buddy. Or is that from earlier? Yeah, that might have been from earlier. Either way, appreciate you guys. And Baba, thank you for your super chat. I was going to say something. Oh, yes, it's scrolled down way too far. What the moly? Oh, yeah, and I had a super chat from my nephew, Josh.
I still don't know what a super chat is.
A super chat is just like them putting tip in the tip jar.
Oh.
That's all it really is. And honestly, it's more so Ernie or me when there's a lot of comments so that I throw it up. There's incentive. Look, El Fuego, boom. See, it's different colors, different prices, different colors, all
Interesting.
kinds of stuff.
That's it. I'm always learning stuff. But someone asked a question, if I wasn't running Kicker, what would I run? You know, there's so much good stuff out there, and it's the key is setting it up. I mean, obviously, you know, Audison, Moscone, they make some great, absolutely great equipment. You know, speaker-wise, I mean, Focals are awesome. ScanSpeak is another just really, really. I mean, you're looking at ScanSpeak mids. For the high end. I mean, they're at cost they're $540 a piece.
Wow.
But
what's your take on Rockford Fosgate, and JL, and all them?
JL's another great. And here again, we kind of go neck and neck with JL.
Right.
They make great speakers. They have kind of a similar history as they were started a year after Kicker started by the founder. So
we got them by a year, right?
Yeah, we're a year older, 50 years coming up.
That year makes a difference.
It really doesn't matter brand because it's all going to come down to what sounds good in the application, and it's how you set it up. Because you can take absolutely. Funny joke. I mean, I used to work for a company that we sold $10 10-inch woofers.
Really?
I mean, literally, the dealer cost was $10. They'd run them for $20 a piece, and they didn't sound bad if you had moderate power and put them in a halfway decent enclosure. So there's so much good stuff out there, and it just and I'll be honest, I haven't experimented with a lot of the other brands. I mean, I've been here for 25 years, and it's kind of sacrilege to, it does happen from time to time, but it just, I don't know, that would have to be tough. I mean, it'd be some experimentation, but...
probably depend what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, I will say if I went... So if this place burned to the ground and they said, to heck with it, we're done forever, whatever company I went to work for, it'd be a long time, I think, before I'd pull out what I have, because I really like it, and it's just, there's no reason to change if you like it. So great question, though. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Even though you're trying to put me on the spot.
Yeah, you are putting John on the spot here. I mean, he works here. I can say other brands. He can't.
No, I can say them, too, and I did. It's just... It's hard to answer until you're put in that position.
Right, because everything has its place. And in different places, there's, more effort put into things and less.
Price doesn't denote quality or sound or anything.
Right.
And the biggest thing I can suggest to people is to do a blind listening, if at all possible, because when you put stuff side by side and, you can't tell what it is, you're not predisposed to a name
blind
brand.
Test.
Yeah, it's really surprising, what you might find you like.
Right. And it's just, I feel like it's just easy to promote Kicker and run Kicker because it's not like you're going to go into a product and be like, okay, I want to try the 12s and I'm going to put it on this, and then not per se get unsatisfactory results, but say if you don't know how to run the equipment per se of what it's supposed to, they're more forgiving. They're more forgiving and just
had a lot of years of experience.
Yeah.
Dealing with a lot of hard end users.
Yep. Oh, we are. We are. Everybody. Hey. Good or bad, or experience or none. We always try to push it a little bit too far sometimes. Even that quad box, I had that cooking. Not clipping, cooking.
Well,
cooking.
We kind of did that in our test. Of course, we had a 5,000 watt amp on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we were pushing it hard. But, clean power, I mean, as long as it's clean. And the problem with distortion and clipping, the bigger the amplifier, when it clips, the more destructive it becomes. Mm-hmm. So while to make it louder, you need a bigger amplifier, but if you push that bigger amplifier too far, it's going to be destructive quicker. So it's that double-edged sword.
And I've noticed too, at least with the CX 1800 amp, wired at 1 ohm, rising to 2 or 3 or whatever, and when I was clipping, it was able to clip more THD than being ran at 2 ohms and rising to 6. Less THD, it wouldn't put out any more distortion, that was it.
Right.
Why is that? Is that just how it's built?
Well, yeah,
Control?
and that's something we've put in our amplifiers, and it's all those little hidden things. We talk about, railing back the voltage, to reduce the clipping, especially if the voltage starts dropping, they'll start pulling the rails back so they don't shut off.
Right.
And if there's too much current, they basically pull the voltage down. But it's there to protect the amplifier. We do a test with like the ZR amplifiers, which were awesome amplifiers, but when we push those clear to the limit, so we take the ZR 600, and I've done this test where it's pulling 110 amps of current, at clipping. I mean, right at its limit. Well, then you crank the bass boost and the gain all the way up, and it goes to like 240 amps of current draw.
Phew.
Which, I mean, it's just, and that's all destructive.
Yep.
You take the CXA or the KX when we do the same thing, with 110 and crank it up, and it only goes up like 140 amps of current draw.
Right.
So we internally regulate the amount of distortion and the amount of power that's going to pull and deliver to the speakers when it becomes destructive.
Wow, that makes sense. I was wondering, because I see it in real practice, but that makes sense.
And you can hear the difference.
Yep.
I mean,
I didn't gain anything on the meter going from 2 amps or 1 amp to 2 amp because I went higher impedance,
Yep.
I'm clamping the same amount of power, but I feel like it has better dynamic range and it just runs cleaner. And I don't clip as much. When I'm putting it, I don't smell stinky, and I'm clamping just as much and it sounds just as loud, if not louder, musically.
It's all about what works.
It's crazy. We got any other comments, Ernie?
Yeah, he's slacking back there.
Nom. Who's this?
It's past Ernie's bedtime.
Sorry, I'm keeping you guys
He
up.
wants to go home.
What's up, RGA? Yeah, I'm getting tired, man. I've been tired this whole weekend, but it's been awesome.
How about the questions are coming to me, and it's your show. Anyway,
Yeah.
adult beverage of choice. Well, for a long time it was Jack Daniels, then it was Crown, and believe it or not, Canadian Club. I've graduated to like the 9 or 12-year reserve. I mean, it's not only it's less expensive than Crown, but it's actually, in my opinion, a little smoother. So,
Yeah.
probably right now is what's in my freezer. The only bottle is Canadian Club 9-year reserve.
The only thing in my freezer is Jack Daniels. I've been there for 2 years, and it's almost finished.
I haven't taught you very well then.
No. Usually Steeler games, you make one drink, and then that's all you need. That's all you need. And then when we lose, it's like 2 drinks. So,
Probably not a bad habit.
No, without Ben this year, who knows what's going to happen. But they look pretty good. But absolutely. Ashy, am I wrong, or does impedance only rise from the point it is wired at? I've heard a theory where it can go below, but I don't think so. I've never seen it.
Well, it'll never go below the DC resistance.
DC resistance, which is not
Impedance.
Yep,
impedance is AC, resistance is DC. So, like on average, our 4 ohm speakers, that's 4 ohms nominal being average, they may have a DCR, which is DC resistance, of 3.4 ohms.
Right.
So, generally, it's possible that it could go, that low, but generally it only goes up from there. I mean,
right.
Because the enclosure, the type of enclosure, the size of enclosure, it all makes a big difference. I remember, I didn't measure this, but years and years ago, talking about other brands, when I was a big Orion dealer, they had the tech briefs. So I actually, there was an enclosure in there that was really cool that I modeled up. That was, it was a high SPL enclosure. It was like a vented bandpass, a dual bandpass.
Oh wow, yeah.
But it was for a 4 ohm driver at like 85 hertz. It went up to 120 ohms.
Wow, good efficiency.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of efficiency.
But once again, very, very high impedance rise. So at that frequency, the amplifier was putting almost out no power.
Nothing. Right.
So that's the thing with impedance rise, and most of the time the box and the car compensate for a lot of that, so you don't hear a lot of the impedance. But if you're competing, that's where impedance rise is really, really crucial.
Yep.
Because if you've got a high impedance rise at the frequency that you're playing for SPL, if you could get that impedance down somehow,
Yep.
to get more out of the amplifier, more power, but you got to balance that with the efficiency.
You know what I tell people when they're trying to do that? Get a bigger amp.
There
Get
you
a
go.
bigger amp. It's easier, and
More
they
power
don't
is
go
more
by
gooder.
they don't go by what your amp does at 4 ohms anymore.
Yep.
It goes by clamp power. So people always say oh, how's this amp fight box rise, or how do I fight box rise? And it's like you don't want to fight it. It's a good thing, and it's just I've seen the
For
box
music,
rise
you're
and
thinking
impedance
too
curve.
hard. I mean, you
Right.
should not worry about impedance rise when you're just listening to music.
I think people are just kind of thinking like, okay, well,
It's a
I know
buzzword.
that I'm gonna and it's like I'm gonna get 4 ohms when I'm wired at 1 with this box, and it's like, but that's all your speaker can really take musically, because then the power increases when you go down, and then if you try to get more at just that high impedance jump for SPL, you ain't gonna be able to play 20 hertz
Nope,
full
because
tilt.
the amp's going to shut down.
It's gonna shut down, or it's just gonna your subs are gonna
Or melt down.
Right,
which-
a lot of factors.
yeah, it's interesting. But if you guys are just listening to music, don't worry about impedance rise. Just,
Thank you, Deviant.
just worry about average impedance, usable impedance.
Right. I know I wanted to wire down the CX1800s, but 0.5 is a long reach from 2 ohms. I feel like
It'll do it to a certain point.
up to a certain
Yep,
amp.
it's gonna be current limited, so.
And if I can get 2,000 watts instead of 1,700, I feel like I'd be close to that 50. 148.7. It's close.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to hear a difference, but you can
No,
measure
not
it.
at all. Trust me, the meter. That's all they care
Yep.
about. That 150 or nothing.
Yeah,
and it's like,
meter
listen.
knuckleheads.
Thank you for the public service announcement, Deviant. Been trying to say that. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for tuning in, too. Dub Team, impedance always on the AC side. You're right, Ashy. Right, yeah, that's what you were kind of going into with
Now
the
that's
impedance.
just, that's Ohm's law.
I've seen impedance go up, and that's where the woofer works great with the enclosure, with the power applied of how the design is, how they're working together. And then the impedance starts going down at the same frequency because you're reaching mechanical limit, and the woofer just is not moving any further.
Yeah, and pretty much all speakers, above or below their usable range, the impedance is going to rise.
Yep. It's crazy. It's
Yep.
crazy. El Fuego. Kicker Gold Letter Anniversary Edition subs. My original Gold Letter 8s need to be retired.
Next question.
Yes, 50 years something. What was that? Next question. Thank you, El Fuego. It's always rigged. Thank you for tuning in.
That was an inside joke, by the way.
25 hertz to life. When is box rise acceptable other music than bass? I mean, it's just always going to be there.
Yeah, it's a fact of life, and it's acceptable because with music you don't even really notice it.
No.
It doesn't factor. I mean, there's nothing you're going to do about it anyway. It's going
Right.
to happen.
When I was younger, getting into car audio, I thought, oh, that says 1,800 watts. I'm getting all 1,800 watts out of my Kenwood.
Now, there was one of the episodes we did a while ago where I actually took one of the SMD meters that tells you the
real
impedance
time,
gap.
yeah.
And if you guys go back and find that show, it's a real cool meter, but you can actually just hook it up to a driver and you can basically find the resonant frequency by the impedance.
Yep. Yeah, Parker uses that in a lot of his videos and everything.
It's a great piece, and it was actually, I never really messed with it. It's like, and we joked about it. We're like, all right, we just grabbed a speaker, not, you don't remember specs on everything, obviously.
No.
So just for fun, we grabbed a speaker, and I was using the meter to find it. Like, tell me what the resonant frequency is. I came in at like 37.7, and looked at the spec, and it was 38. So
wow,
those
so
meters
close
are,
enough.
I
Close
mean,
enough
yeah,
to get to
absolutely.
where you're
So
trying to be.
It's really cool to mess, but I think they're $479. But
Right,
it's a
but-
cool piece to have fun with.
They're nice because they're portable too.
Yeah,
They're
and it just
portable.
works off a 9-volt battery.
Right. Choose them alive, but they're portable.
But the other thing we did is we had the same speaker in different enclosures, a sealed enclosure and ported, and you could see how different the enclosure changed that impedance curve.
Yep. Yeah, because the sealed enclosure has a 12 dB roll off, and a ported has 24.
Yep.
So around that frequency of what it's tuned at, and then port size, and I feel like everything with the type of driver, even with a ported enclosure, can make a difference of how that slope is. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, your mathematical calculator roll-off is at 12 and 24. But, in reality, it's going to be close, but it may not be exactly. I mean, there's, like I always say, there's reality and there's engineering. And sometimes the engineers kind of fall off the rope one way or another. But
Yeah.
it's just, like I say, and they talk about frequency response. They say you can hear from 20 to 20K. Well, no one in the world can hear that. Why do they say that? Because 20 and 20 is easy to remember. It's a good average, so it's not engineering.
No.
I mean, you look, my hearing's probably 34 to 14 or 13.
34? Yeah, that's a little bit of wasted information. Just enough.
There's a lot of good stuff down there.
Exactly.
Within reason. That's where you really feel that bass.
So when you get down to the 20, 25 range, it's just like a wall. It's not bass. It's not.
It's definitely not tight. I mean,
no.
Because at the lower frequencies, the cone's moving slower.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the fact of life. I mean, lower frequencies are less vibrations per second, so the cone's moving slower. So the faster the cone moves, the tighter the mid bass is going to be. But like I say, it's all a balancing act.
Right, because you got to balance with that, and how low.
So you got to have a speaker that you play it too high a frequency, you get a lot of mid bass, but then it sounds really hollow and so that's why adjustable crossovers are great.
Right.
Because one box may sound great in one car. You take the exact same box and amplify it in another car, and it doesn't sound exactly right.
No.
And it could be the way that basically the vehicle, the transfer function of the vehicle is affecting the sound quality, and the placement of the speaker in the vehicle is also extremely important.
Right. There's so many factors and variables.
We could spend weeks just going over this stuff.
I know.
That's what we do here every day.
I could do it all the time, man.
There was another question I think we just missed.
Yeah, I seen it. I missed it. Bob Stanish, have you ever licked 2 amps? You know what?
That's a personal question.
I'll see you guys
exactly.
next
Sorry,
time.
this is a family
It's
show.
been great. Linked. Oh, linked 2 amps. I mean, well, you guys used to have strappable amps with the KX.
And I'm glad you said that because you're exactly right. You don't bridge 2 amplifiers together. That's called strapping 2 amplifiers together. And our 2500s, the KX 2500s, you could strap those amplifiers together. There was a cable that plugged in between the two, and the master amp used the positive speaker output of the master amp and the negative off the slave. So basically took the 2 swings and it basically tied those together with that cable in the center. So that is strapping 2 amplifiers, and you could only do that with half-bridge amplifiers.
Yep, and all the kicker amps now are full bridge designs, so
and in
they're
fact,
already strapped.
If you look at you're talking about high-power amplifiers for mids and highs, we make 2 models amplifiers that are 1,200 watts full range. And that's the KXMA 1202, and we had the KXA 1202, but they were full range, 600 watts per channel, full range.
And you can't.
And they were designed for the tower cams.
And you can't bridge them.
Nope, they are already internally bridged. It's 2 separate 600 watt amplifiers in the case. So those you cannot bridge.
And those aren't very big either. They're about the same
tiny.
size as this 12
they're
right here.
Very efficient.
Jeez.
Good question.
Absolutely, man. We killed this hour quick. This was awesome. You guys got any last questions? Ask them now.
It's not long before we're going to get you to the airport for your flight.
I know. I might as well just keep going, right?
Yeah, at some point it's like, just push on through it.
Yeah, I might get a little bit of sleep. I'll be sleeping on the plane.
Ashy Larry asks a question here.
Would a woofer with a very small mechanical limitation do better in what was that?
With impedance rise.
With impedance rise. Man, low mechanical limit with impedance rise. I feel like it's more with everything, how the driver reacts, the weight, and just the efficiency of everything working together. The electrical compliance, the mechanical compliance.
Basically you're going to
everything.
You're going to be limited on power and obviously enclosures, because if you've got a small mechanical limit on a driver, it can't move very far, so it's going to have to be in probably a smaller sealed enclosure.
Right.
And that's also going to add to impedance rise.
Yes. Yeah, because you're just kind of shortchanging yourself. If you have something that just has low throw, you're just cutting off the possibilities.
Just to throw this out there, not to open up a huge can of worms, but just so you guys know, don't go by X-Max.
No.
I mean, a lot of people consider X-Max as how far the speaker moves. X-Max is a physical measurement. You take the height of the voice coil, take the height of the gap, which is the thickness of the top plate, subtract the gap and divide it by 2. So that's how much the voice coil overhangs the top plate, or overhangs the bottom of the top plate.
That's insane.
The reason I bring that up is because your woofer, the Solo X18, do you know what the X-Max is on that woofer?
26 or something around there, millimeters. It's almost an inch. It's like an inch.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's 5 millimeters.
Are you kidding me?
It's a fifth of an inch. That's the X-Max. That's how far the voice coil.
way
Yeah.
past that.
And
Yeah.
well, that once again, that just shows you that doesn't mean how far that speaker moves, because
Right.
what happens is we got a big voice coil.
Right.
So it's got a lot of travel, but we have a very thick top plate, so there's not much of the voice coil hanging up. So, but it still has a lot of travel.
Wow. So,
So X-Max is not how far the speaker travels.
Now, I was talking to Aaron a little bit yesterday around the Clipple, and he said that's how they measure X-Max. So what are they usually doing with the X-Max on the Clipple then?
That's a usable X-Max.
Usable, so more
Yeah,
like
but-
X-Mac and
Yep,
X-Max before it's going out of linear.
Yes, but
Sure.
the actual physical, I mean, you can have, some speakers have negative X-Max.
Really?
So if you have a top plate that's this big and your voice coil is this big, the voice coil is actually smaller than the top plate, it's negative, but the speaker still moves. High-end tweeters use an underhung voice coil, which means the top plate is thicker than the voice coil itself.
And I remember talking about
very
this with you
accurate,
before,
but
like what is it, the
impossible to woofer.
L7Ts have the underhung woofer too?
No.
Or underhung coil? Which
Nope.
one have the underhung?
None of them do.
I thought you had underhung on
Nope.
one of these. You don't?
No, you'd have to have a really, really, really thick top plate.
Okay, then what am I thinking of that's
We had an L-cut top plate and we
Yeah.
had a T-cut top plate.
okay.
So most top plates, basically are a sheet of metal with a hole punched out in the middle, and that's where the voice coil goes.
Right.
So it's flat all the way across. So with the T-cut, we actually step it up right before the hole.
Oh.
So that's what we used to use in the old L7s. And it gave us a really large magnetic field.
Right.
So you
which
had
is-
great power, and you also had more surface area to pull heat away from the voice coil, so it had great thermal capacity.
It
And
does.
some of them used what they call an L-cut, where they would actually just bump the top and not the bottom.
Wow.
But all that decreased the X-Max value, but it added to more output, more cone travel, and better thermal. So it is actually better by having a smaller X-Max.
Wow. Well, that
All
kind of
that weird
answers that. That
technical
kind of
stuff.
answers that one question. You can get away with less X-Max, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of other variables too,
Yeah.
and within reason.
So I think one time I can up to about 41 different factors that control cone movement.
Oh wow.
I mean, the suspension, the tensile leads, the magnet, what the type of magnet material, the height of the gap, the width of the gap. I mean, it just goes
Right.
on and on and on. So
Right.
there's not just 2 or 3 features that determine how far that speaker moves.
It's crazy.
I mean,
you think you know
the
something.
type of
and then
voice
you
coil
don't.
wire, the shape of the wire. I mean, it's crazy what
Yep.
all the different features.
I'll be picking your brain more often, John. I always try to. I know you're busy like me, but
Hey, that's what I'm busy doing.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
not busy to me. So. This is fun. We're gonna do your show from here more often.
I know. Just
It's
let
fun
me
being
know.
on this side of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't have to control anything. If the show fails, it's his fault.
Hey, we're
At least
trying our
this one.
best. It's live. It's always live. I know. We might as well wrap it up there, Ernie. I think I could take it from up here if you're even.
Train horn, I'm blowing the train.
All right, he's blowing the train horn. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to get the outro going. And shoot, man, I will see you guys Friday. I'll try to go for. We got to go live Friday. We got a lot more to talk about. And John, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming to see us.
Absolutely.
And being a part of our team.
Absolutely. I love it. Hey, thank you guys. I'll see you soon. Deviant's coming to steal it, and El Fuego, but Deviant got it. Andy moving to Stillwater. We'll see.